Kyrie Irving recently came out.
Shared with my teammates as well as the organization and everyone else in Boston. You guys are having me back. I plan on resigning next year.
Now, this move is a great reassurance for the Boston Celtics fans. It also lets them feel like, okay, we're gonna have this game sewn up because we have Kyrie, we have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, we have Gordon Hayward. All these guys are young, they're under 30, so we're gonna be running the league for a while now. And when you look at it from that perspective, you gotta love it because the Eastern Conference is gonna become relevant again in terms of like, you know, when I mean relevant again, I mean besides having like basically one team, Cleveland, that could win a championship or potentially win multiple championships. You know, we haven't seen that from the East since, I would say, the Boston Celtics maybe, like the real potential to win multiple championships. The Detroit Pistons. So out of those two, Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons in the last 10 to 12 years from the Eastern Conference. You know, of course we had the Bulls in the 90s or whatever, but I'm just talking about most recently, 10 to 12 years. Really haven't seen a great Eastern Conference team that could potentially run off like multiple championships. When you look at like a LeBron James, he gets you to the title. Now, whether you're gonna win or not, it really isn't up to him per se. Like or my bad, Miami was another team. You know, like another team, but Miami wasn't necessarily like a great team. They just had like a lot of great talent. You'll never consider the Miami Heat an all-time great team compared to some of the other ones that we've seen in the past. So, but like a team, like for example, I was back to what I was saying about LeBron. LeBron's gonna get you there. You know, he got the Heat there twice. He got the Heat there 4 times, and it was 50-50. Won 2, lost 2. So LeBron's gonna get you there, but a team that could potentially, you know, get you multiple championships, or whatever the case is. This is good for the NBA because you don't want just to have the juggernaut in the West for the Golden State Warriors. You also want to have a juggernaut in the East, which is the Boston Celtics. So they balance each other out. So when they play each other, you know it's gonna be some shit on the floor right there. Now in terms of Kyrie Irving, I don't like this move. I don't like you playing your hand before, you know, things play out. You know, a lot of things could change over the season. Minutes could change. Injury could happen. Teams can renege on their deals, renege on their promises. You can start seeing some things with Terry Rozier. Now he has to be in this position where he's thinking to himself, well, Kyrie's resigning. I don't want to play this bench role forever, and I want to get paid. I mean, it's a good thing to be a role player on a team, but I need to get paid. I need to financially secure my family. So, you know, most likely he's going to leave. And we might see the exodus of some other great talent that they have, from Marquise Morris to Marcus Smart, stuff like that. So you never really know with these situations because all these guys are young and they're looking to prove something. They're not like guys that already made a huge contract and now they're settled and they just want to win championships. You know, besides Kyrie Irving, all these other guys have a lot to prove. And I could play too. Hey, I could do this too. So that's going to be interesting. I was listening to the No Chill podcast, and one of the things that they said was that that Celtics team, they need to create an internal rivalry where guys aren't really necessarily playing together, which means the starting team isn't playing against a backup team. They need to mix up them teams so these guys could push themselves to see what talent can do. If you look at Scottie Pippen, he scrimmaged against Michael Jordan every practice so he could get better. That's why he became such a great defender and stuff like that, because he was playing against one of the best, if not the best, offensive player of that era, which made him better day in and day out. But like I said about Kyrie Irving, you can't force your hand too early. Last year, I felt what he did was great. He was like, financially, it didn't make sense for me to sign a contract extension. I'm just gonna wait until the next season. Now he's telling people he's gonna re-sign with them. So now that takes pressure off the Boston Celtics, and now that hurts teams like the New York Knicks, who wanted Jimmy Butler and Kyrie Irving to team up. You know, when you keep teams in waiting and guessing what your next move is gonna be, a la LeBron James, a la Kevin Durant, you know, some of these things that they did, you're making the player market stronger. You're keeping the whole player mobility thing going. But when you're already telling people you're going to re-sign, now, let's just say he doesn't re-sign. He looks like the bad guy now. And things can happen during the regular season, like hey, coaching, he didn't get along with the coach, or Danny Ainge did something to tick him off, and we might never know. We'll just look at him like, oh, he reneged on his word. He's a bad guy. So to me, I would have used a little bit more caution and held my tongue a bit about re-signing, even if it's going to be a story throughout the season. Let it be a story throughout the season. Just play ball. You know how to handle situations like this before. You've seen it from a pro like LeBron James. So I feel like that was premature for him to do, especially when you're looking at somebody like Danny Ainge, who he doesn't hold any loyalty to anything. Like, in the Celtics organization, they are very shrewd. They're like the San Antonio Spurs in that regard, or like the New England Patriots. Like before these Celtics, you got to go back to Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and KG. Ray Allen left because he wasn't given any assurances, and his name was brought up in trade talks. Even though they eventually offered him a great offer down the line, he felt slighted for that fact, and he left. He went to Miami. So now you're looking at somebody like Kyrie Irving dealing with the Celtics organization, who could very potentially end up being in that kind of time frame where they're like, well, hey, New Orleans, we're willing to trade for Kyrie Irving if we'll give us Kyrie Irving and we'll take Davis. Like, Danny Ainge will make a deal like that. So you got to be careful dealing with the Celtics organization, because they're not about the player necessarily. They're about the organization. So that's my only trepidation about Kyrie Irving saying that he's going to re-sign with the Celtics this early. But in terms of the league, this looks great, because now you have the Celtics, you're going to have the Raptors. Hopefully Kawhi will re-sign with them. Even though I'm a Lakers fan, I would love to see him come to LA, but you want to see a mixture of teams that could potentially win a championship, and that's what's good for the NBA. You want to see 4 to 5 teams that could possibly make a run at it. So that's it with Kyrie Irving. I think we'll see how things play out. I hope he resigns, but part of me is like, go to the Knicks. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think about him saying this early. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, and subscribe.